Can you see the PPT?
No, sir.
Wait. Yanappa. Okay. After the Second World War, entire world it has been facing several problems such as unemployment, food crisis, environmental pollution, and terrorism, and others here. In this chapter, we will discuss about the only few important. They are as follows here. That first one, it is denial of human rights. Denial means here refusal of human rights, and the second it is arms race, and the third it is here economical inequality here. In the present also, in the past also, these were the important problems. Even today also, most of the countries, people they aren't getting what the human rights which are implemented by the United Nations of the world. ವಿಶ್ವಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮಾನವ ಹಕ್ಕುಗಳು ಏನಿದಾವಲ್ಲ, ಇವಾಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಜನರಿಗೆ ತಲುಪ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇವನ್ nowadays also, today also here at present, that human rights are not properly reaching to the people of that underdeveloped countries. And almost all countries in the world, like India and others here, they are competing to store the arms because we have a fear regarding the future there. Other country may occupy or attack on our territories. Because of that, most of the countries, including India and China and then America, Japan, Australia, most of that all are competing to store that arms to protect their territory from their enemies. And the third, it is economical inequality here. Economical inequality means here that all countries they are not economically in good condition. Some that countries are underdeveloping, it means they are very poor in economically. Some they are developing countries, little bit they are showing the progress economically also in the other that all side industrially also they, and other that countries like Singapore, Japan, England, France, and then America, they are not developed countries here. They are earning more and more income through that different type of modern that economical activities here. Like this year and at present, the entire world it has been facing these all three important problems. Let us discuss here what is the role of India in these all three days, whether it is trying to reduce that or increase. It has been always has tried to reduce these problems, but due to some reasons here, even it is also competing with the other countries to protect its sovereignty there. We are trying to protect our sovereignty, not to compete with any other country. It is not the intention of India to compete with any other country. We are trying to save our sovereignty there, our independence, which we have secured after that 1947 from the British. This picture it tells us here human rights denial in the African countries. Even children also they have few rights. Actually, in India here, they should get the education. The children those who are under 6 to that 14, they should get compulsorily that primary education for their parents and also government. But in some other country here, even that children were used to do the work in the different that economical activities. They are forcefully sending to do that dangerous work, construction works and manufacturing works, or in industrial area there. With the end of Second World War, the imperialism and colonialism ended. Imperialism means here the countries which it is a system in which a rich country it will try to hold power on the any other what underdeveloped countries or the poor countries here. That is called imperialism. And colonialism means here it is also a kind of system here that the rich country it will try to sell its goods and also it will try to take the resources of that poor country. Entirely it will exploit that country regarding the sources also, regarding the wealth also of that country. How that England or British they exploited Indian territory, Indian people before the independence. Like that, countries, some countries they are trying to exploit that poor countries. They are grabbing their sources. Here, it was ended after the Second World War, but recently that a few countries they are giving rebirth to this imperialism and then colonialism here, like China and other that Central Asian countries. These are the few pictures of that Second World War. Which tells us about the cruelty of that Second World War and also actions of that Adolf Hitler. Whenever we heard the word of that First World War, Second World War, the name that comes in front of our eyes, it is Hitler. He killed a crore of people to protect his territory. Because of that, after the Second World War, to protect integrity and peace and order in the entire world, UNO, United Nations Organization, it was came into force. It was established by few that international leaders. With the establishment of this UNO, new era it was started, new period it was started in the entire world. Since the establishment of this UNO, it has been trying to prevent the conflicts between the countries, or it is trying to reduce that next coming wars there. Future wars, which we can tell in easily, that they're called future wars here. Still, numerous problems like human rights, arms race. Arms race means you don't consider this is the arms race. It means collecting weapons race. It is called arms race here. By observing this picture, you don't consider this is the what an example of that arms race here. Collecting weapons more and more from the other countries also, or producing in their own countries also there. That all activities have come under the arms race. And economical inequality. Here, some countries they are growing more and more. It means developed countries, and some other countries they are declining. They are trying to serve, or they are trying to come out from that poverty there. And apartheid policy. It means showing our loyalty towards our own or our relatives based on that caste, color, religion, reason, or etc. here. In Kannada, simply we can call that Varna Vedaniti. This apartheid policy was practiced in the South America, and it was very strongly opposed by that Nelson Mandela and also Mahatma Gandhi did it during the 20th century beginning, and also terrorism. These all problems still also are treating the entire world. India, as a member of the world community, is striving its best to solve some these problems. India is also an important country in the entire world, and in its level, it is trying to reduce that all problems regarding such as here that terrorism, arms race, and human rights denial, and other that problems. It has taking what necessary precautions to stop that or to reduce that all problems. Let us discuss here what are the steps taken by that Indian government to implement that human rights effectively in India. Humanists have advocated that every human being should get their rights. Who are these humanists here? Who will think about the world people or the citizen of a country here? They are called as here that humanists. Leonardo da Vinci, Dante, these were the important humanists of that 20th century. Those were tried to bring reforms in the European countries. Unfortunately, human rights have been not honored in the long history of human civilization. Here, since the long period, these human rights have been not granted to that poor people in different parts of the world. An example that South Africa and that Arab countries and also Central Asian countries here, they are very bad in the implementation of this human rights in their countries there. In the name of caste, religion, race, gender, color, the skin, and nationalism, human rights have been denied to many people throughout the history here. If you want to look back at the history here, in entire world, most of the countries they are denied to implement properly this human rights in their country based on or by keeping these all issues here. In the name of that caste also, religion also, race, gender, color of the skin, or any other reasons here. The American War of Independence, which happened in the 1776, and French Revolution, it was happened in the 1789 to 99. The Russian Revolution, which happened in the 1917, and freedom struggle of India and other countries in the early parts of the 19th century provided more strength to human rights. These revolutions which happened in the different parts of the world in different countries here like America, French, Russia, and India here. That all revolutions turn the faces of all the citizens to demand that human rights here. Or that all revolutions they encourage the people to have their human rights by the government. Hence, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is considered as a major event in the world history here. Remember, the American War of Independence, French Revolution, Russian Revolution, and Indian freedom struggle. These and other that countries' struggles encouraged all the people or strengthened more that human rights. Due to the reason of that all revolutions which took place in different parts of the world, after establishing the that United Nations of organization, it has declared these human rights to the entire world citizens, and also it has requested or it has ordered to the members countries to implement effectively that human rights in their country. Human rights declaration prepared by the experts agreed upon the member countries was adopted in the UN General Body meeting on December 10 and 1948 here. Here, during the December 10, 1948, they conducted that General Body meeting of that UNO in the America. During this situation here, they adopted that human rights and also told to its country, members countries here to implement effectively there. Since that day onwards, every 10th December we have been celebrating here World Human Rights Day there. The General Assembly has mandated, made compulsory the member countries to adopt and protect human rights in every country in order to facilitate better implementation of human rights. The UNO has provided guidelines along with the human rights declaration here. It doesn't declare only human rights on 10th December 1948, and also it has provided the guidelines how to implement the human rights in their countries there. Suggested there through the few suggestions here, it has tried to or help to that countries which they would like to implement that human rights in their country. The guidelines include 30 columns here. The guidelines which were instructed by the UNO, they include here 30 columns. For example, every individual has a right to live with freedom and dignity and equality once he is born as an individual. This is an example regarding to what points they have mentioned in the guidelines or in the suggestions of UNO there. And it also calls for the eradication of slavery and gender-based exploitation of women. They didn't focus on only that to reduce that exploitation which is happening on the poor people and other economically backward people, and also it has focused on the slavery and that gender-based exploitation which was present in which has been present in the world. The important human rights are here: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, culture, and educational rights, right to remedies here, constitutional remedies. India has been advocating universal declaration of human rights from the beginning. Since the beginning of that birth of that UNO, India it has been trying to or serving a lot to implement that effectively in its country, and also in the other countries. Because of that, it has mentioned that almost all that human rights in its constitution under article of that 12 to 35 in the part third there as a fundamental rights. Directly, it hasn't it hasn't mentioned that human rights. In the name of that fundamental rights, it has mentioned that all 6 important rights there, such as here right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, culture and educational rights, and also right to constitutional remedies here. These all rights are discussed under the article of Indian Constitution between the 12 to 35 in the part of that third. And during the sessions also, during the meeting of sessions of the UNO here, India has forced other countries also to implement that effectively there. Being as a member of that UNO here, founding member, India is the founding member of UNO there. Since the establishment of that UNO, India is the member of that UNO there. It is also what requesting that all countries to implement effectively that human rights in their country. UNO in its conference on human rights violation in 1966, it has conducted an important conference to discuss about the human rights violation. It has asked for the commitment on the part of member countries. It has asked their member countries to implement compulsorily that human rights in their country there. In order to monitor the human rights implementation process, it formed International Human Rights Commission. In 1966 year, UNO, which they conducted conference between the member countries in, I think, America. There it asked all its member countries to implement compulsory that human rights in entire their country, and also it has formed an organization to check the implementation of a human rights commission in that countries, in its member countries, whether they are implementing effectively or not. To clarify that issues here, it has formed that body there. What body? International Human Rights Commission body there. It will closely observe that all and suggest that countries which will not agree to implement that human rights properly in their country. Here also some of they will do here partiality. If any that economically strong countries it is violating the human rights, they do not show their interest to suggest or to warn. But in this situation, that members and then a president or chairperson of that body, they should work properly there, promptly. An example, in China, there is a lot of human rights violation. It has been trying to occupy its neighbor countries like Hong Kong and Vietnam, and also that Western countries near that Kazakhstan, in that area. It has been trying to suppress the voice of people, even in the Tibet also there. But even though it is not ready to strictly order to that China there, it has been doing their partiality. That members of president they are not showing their dareness to say directly to that China way. This is the what the present situation I have told here. Even though they have formed the International Human Rights Commission, it is not showing more interest to focus on this kind of issues there. But whenever it comes to the matter of that other that poor countries, they will interfere there. So they will try to suggest because they are not strong. They are unable to compete with the other countries. ಅದು ಬಡವ ಕಂಟ್ರಿನ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಶ್ರೀಮಂತ ಕಂಟ್ರಿನ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು let us they have to do their duty there, but most of they aren't doing that. On the similar lines here, in India, National Commission for Human Rights, how that even though it has formed International Human Rights Commission body, like that in India also there is a body which helps to protect here how to implement effectively that human rights. The central government it has formed National Commission for Human Rights in the center also, and it has allowed even that the state also to form their own human rights commission there. In the national level, there is a National Human Rights Commission or National Commission for Human Rights, and in the state level, State Commission for Human Rights. And also other bodies, National Women's Commission, National Commission for Scheduled Castes, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, National Backward Classes Commission have been formed to monitor the implementation of human rights in entire India here, to implement effectively or to monitor, to verify the implementation of that human rights. Central government it has formed these all different type of bodies here to implement effectively that all human rights. Whenever there will be a violation of human rights, we can approach these bodies or even that High Court, Supreme Court also. An example which happened in the Maharashtra government in our neighbor state Maharashtra against that TV channel. It's violated the freedom of speech, freedom of expression. It has tried to suppress that right of Republican television and arrested the chief of that television there, Arnab Goswami there. But he didn't sat quietly there. He approached even that session court also, and then that High Court also, and finally he approached that Supreme Court also there. But Supreme Court it has granted the bail also by inquiring that issue clearly there. Supreme Court in India here, Supreme Court it is the ultimate court which help us to protect our rights there. That is the last. Whatever bodies which we can see in the entire India here, the same bodies we can see in the state level also. In Karnataka also there are bodies, State Commission for Human Rights, State Women's Commission, and also State Commission for Scheduled Caste, State Commission for Scheduled Tribes here, State Backward Classes Commission. These are the bodies which are formed by the central government and then state government to protect how to implement effectively human rights. This is all about human rights denial. Next problem it is here, arms race. In nuclear epoch, that is epoch, not a epoch. Either we have to end, this is the word era of a nuclear war. Epoch means here era or period. In a nuclear epoch or era, either we have to end the war or the war will end us, is a popular saying often found in the present world. In this present nuclear world, there are two options in front of the all that human beings. One, it is here, we have to end the war. It means we have to reduce the storage of that arms race. When it is possible to reduce the war, whenever the peace and coordination it will establish between the countries, between the nations, whether it would be 2 or 3 or more than that also, and they will show their interest to reduce their storage of arms, it is possible. Then only here we can end the war. If we do not end the war, that war which will happen in the future in the entire world, it will end us. It means it will kill the a core of or the, people or citizen of the world there. Even at present also there is a sense of that third world war due to the reason of that COVID-19 and other that economic crisis. If any one country it is it is step forward, that is the beginning of third world war there. It would be North Korea or America or Japan or India or China or any other that countries, Australia, France, whatever it may be here. These are the pictures of that arms race by using the different kind of arms countries they will do fight with others. Almost all countries which are present in India, in the world here, they have nuclear weapons, and almost all students you also have an idea regarding the effects of that nuclear weapons which America has used on the Nagasaki and Hiroshima during the time of that Second World War. This is the picture. Second picture, it helps to know about what effects of that nuclear weapons. In the current scenario, in the present situation, arms race appears to be a dangerous phenomenon. It is very important, very serious competition between the countries in the present scenario here, in the present situation. There is no coordination between the countries and none of we are showing, except India here and other few countries are showing their interest to establish peace in the world. Always, almost all that forward countries or the developed countries, they require prestige or dignity. They would like to keep that dignity as same there, like America and China and Russia. If that all developed countries they united, there will be no war in the future. If they are quarreling, surely there will be third world war in the future there. That America, Russia and China, India is always a peace-loving country since it's emergent. At present, these are the three important countries which are trying to have a demand in the entire world or dignity. These countries should first establish coordination between the countries. Then, in the future, everything will be fine. Disarmament is the present as well as the future need of the humanity here. What do you mean by disarmament here? Reducing the arms year by year or over the period of time. That is what disarmament. This is the what solution to that arms race here. Each and every country, including the developing country and then developed countries, they have to practice this disarmament here. Suddenly, it is not possible to reduce all weapons, but decade by decade or year by year, we have to reduce the storage of that arms here. Disarmament is the only solution to stop mad rush for arms here. That is the only solution or way to reduce the future upcoming wars. Disarmament is the only direct process available to bring down the number of arms and elimination. It means removal of that certain arms here. That all countries which have been competing to store that arms, they have to practice this disarmament here. These are the few pictures which help us to know about that disarmament activities. Most of the countries, instead of paying amount or spending amount on their economical activities or other social work here, they are spending amount to store the weapons there. Insecurity, fear, instability, and threat of war appears due to the arms competition. These are the what effects of that arms race here. There will be insecurity because of that arms race, and also fear regarding the future war, and there will be no water instability. If country is paying more and more amount to purchase that arms there, how can we say instability economically or socially in that country? It has to, it will suffer a lot in the economical field also and in social field also, in other field also. If it is spending more and more money to purchase that weapons from other countries or to create in their own country, like that North Korea. Secretly, it is developing more and more arms without informing the other countries. It creates here problems like insecurity. It may create fear regarding the future wars and also instability. In order to keep all these evils away, it means reduce these all evils here, these problems. Disarmament is the available option. This is the only option for all that countries or for all that humanity. It is also believed that money is wasted on arms and ammunition in the world here. It means arms and weapons, tools and weapons here, unnecessarily here, they are wasting money to purchase that arms instead of investing that amount in the infrastructure and in the industry or in that social activity. who were the president of USA, once he said he had expressed his opinion regarding the arms race. The world which has arms not only waste the money, the word which has arms not only waste the money, understand that quotation here, it's also waste the sweat of labors and intelligence of scientists and waste of dreams of the children here. Instead of thinking about the other issues of the country here, here we will focus on only in production of that arms race. If there is arms race in the world, and it will collapse the future of the country also, and intelligence of the scientists also, and the children's life, labor, that effort, this is all there. Students remaining all we will discuss tomorrow there. Hello?
Yes, sir.
I have understood this all what we discussed in this class now. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಇವಾಗ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು? Arms race, economical inequality, and denial of human rights. These are little what hard to understand, but by reading, by writing, you can understand this all. Once it is not possible to understand. Okay, with this here today I'll conclude this class. Remaining all that we'll discuss tomorrow. Thank you so much to all. Bye.